Hello, and welcome back. This is my series where I tell you more about the Empyrean Lords. We go very much in detail with their involvement in the world of Atreya, and also cover some rumors about them. This time we cover an Empyrean Lord that holds incredible power, even if that power is not related to combat skills itself. It is the Lord of Fate, Lord Marchutan. Marchutan is a very stoic and honest lord. As his title indicates, he is symbolized by fate. His card shows an hourglass on top of a gear. Time and fate go well together, so it could imply that, or, as rumors say, he could be in love with Lady Siel, the Lord of Time. His relics seems to resemble an eye in the middle and blades surrounding it. It makes sense, since his unique talent is the ability to look into the future. The relic itself sits on top of a staff that he carries and even wields as a weapon if necessary. He uses the same pattern, an eye with blades surrounding it, as his special attack against Tiamat. As I said before, one of the most impressive abilities he possesses is the ability to see into the future. But that is not all he can do. He can use his power to cure, erase sickness, and resurrect lives, similar to Lady Eustiel. Beyond that, he also created a new way to enhance the ether power of healing. Marchutan changed healing magic into a mantra. These mantras significantly strengthen Devic powers, and that is why he is connected to the Chanter class. Let us now start with Marchutan's story. As with most Empyrean Lords, we do not know anything about Marchutan before the Cataclysm. His first involvement was in the Deltra story. The Deltra story starts 250 years after the Cataclysm happened. Many rifts started to appear in Elysia, more precisely in Verteron. Deltras and his Storm Legion were known to be very reliable, and therefore they were sent to explore what is beyond the rift that appeared in Verteron. This rift led them into the Abyss, a place that is terrifying yet beautiful in its own way. But the Storm Legion weren't the only ones in the Abyss. Their old enemies, the Balau, were also there. At the same time as the Storm Legion was scouting the Abyss, the rifts also started to appear in the skies of Asmodee. Lord Marchutan feared that they could mean something terrible for the Asmodean people, and started to study them and try to find out what they are. Back in the Abyss, the Storm Legion successfully fought against many Balau. They won battle after battle. But even for such a skilled legion, these battles were draining them of energy. However, they could not return because the rift they came into the Abyss with has closed. Now stranded in this strange Abyss, they tried to find a way home. Countless hours and days passed until suddenly they found a rift similar to the one they came into the Abyss with. They made their way to the rift and entered it with the hope of returning home. While the Storm Legion was stranded in the Abyss, Marchutan learned more about those rifts and finally concluded a doorway would be opening in the desert of Morheim, a doorway to another place, and something would be coming through. Upon hearing this, Lord Azphel immediately sent out Lord Siel, the Lord of Destruction, to take care of that matter. He has to force back the invaders of Asmodee. Without Marchutan's knowledge and abilities, the Asmodeans would have not known what these rifts are and that someone would have invaded them. I will conclude Deltra's story here, but if you want to learn more, I have a video about it that I will link in the description. And there is even a comic that covers the story that I can absolutely recommend. Quite some time after this, the next time Marchutan appears is when the Asmodeans and the Ilias arrive for the first time in Balaurea, more precisely Gelkmaros and Ingizin. Lord Marchutan's goal here is to defeat the Dragon Lord Tiamat, and to take Siel's relics back, which in itself is already a huge task, but this is only made more difficult as the Ilias appeared in Ingizin. Now Lord Marchutan had to fight the Balau led by the Dragon Lord Tiamat, and also the Ilios led by the Seraphim Lord Kaizenal, the Lord of Illusion. Up to this point, everything is true for both versions of Aeon, Classic and Retail. And now we go into the retail story of Aeon. Once Gakmaros was under control of the Asmodeans, Marchutan tasked his agent with confronting Tiamat. But despite many precautions made, Marchutan's fate-bound legion had to endure massive losses due to Tiamat being empowered by Siel's relics. Karun and his Rayan tribe saved the remaining soldiers and demanded an alliance of Ilios, Asmodeans and Rayan in order to defeat the empowered Dragon Lord Tiamat. Having lost many lives with the previous attack and the Rayan leader Karun being able to subdue the Asmodean and Ilios forces, Marchutan had to reluctantly agree to the alliance. Thanks to this alliance, they were capable of driving Tiamat into a corner, and then Lord Marchutan appears in the player's final battle against Tiamat. After the player neutralized Tiamat's control over Siel's relics, Marchutan managed to overpower Tiamat and kill her with his special attack.
Show a little humility. Perhaps I'll leave you alive for now. Such excellence! Well, your life is yours to waste. You? Can it really be?
Hello, Tiamat.
Marchutan!
It's been a while. How have you been?
What feel you like scum, but attack me, and you'll regret it. Move back, have your blood!
I don't control what destiny demands of me. I simply follow her voice.
Is that all you want? Well, I have these!
Siel's relics. Be wary.
Siel's power!
Even in death, she will not submit to you.
No! This can't be! I am a Dragon Lord! Nobody can fight me!
Destiny demands you must die.
All this power snuffed out. And worthless.
It's over. Now to return Siel's relics where they belong.
Lord Marchutan.
How kind of you to free these from Tiamat for me.
Azphel!
Why don't I remove the source of your argument, so you two can kiss and make up?
Even though after the battle Lord Azphel appears and takes away Siel's relics, Marchutan is delighted with the player's diligence and entrusts the player with going after Azphel. Sometime after these events, the attention is now focused on the newly discovered land of Katalam. The Balau Lord Beritra is here attacking and taking over this land. The player is unconscious of the Ilios attack, so Lord Marchutan has a plan. In order to lure out Beritra and discover his plans, he puts the player into like a coma, I guess, for 3 months. During this time, Marchutan and his agents experiment on the player and use magic to make him very gullible and agreeable, which should serve as a bait to lure Beritra out. This led to many confusing situations, like the player helping a person with one thing and then helping another person to do the exact opposite thing, and at one point even helping out Tiamat soldiers. It turns out that this plan ultimately failed because Beritra used a disguise and fooled everyone. As the player confronts Marchutan, he does explain what his plan was, but does not apologize. He says that it was necessary for the greater good, for Asmodee. A bit later, during the start of the upheaval patch, when the incoming destruction of the regions was imminent, Lord Marchutan overexerted himself, trying to save the highest amount of people. He channeled his energy into aiding the evacuations. After this, Lord Marchutan felt drained, and therefore he retired to his dwelling, where he would regenerate his energy for an extended time. After this, he also appeared in Altgard under a new identity, Marco. He is here to act as an instructor for new players and searches for promising humans and devas to send to Pandemonium. And then, many years later, when the devas arrive in Absaranta, Lord Marchutan was the first person to arrive there. He sets up a base for the Asmodeans here, and takes a more supportive role in this expedition. So let's conclude the most important things now. Lord Marchutan lore-wise truly stands eye to eye with the Chanter class. He is a true jack of all trades. He is good at fighting, at curing, at healing. He is good at transforming ether, like how he made the healing magic into mantras. He can look into the future and even is good at studying unknown things. He does all of these things at such a high level that nobody doubts his skills. He may act prideful and maybe even arrogant at times, but all of it is, as he says, for the greater good, for Asmodee. Yes, he did use the player against his will for the attempt to lure Beritra out, but if he could have used himself for this mission, he would have gladly paid this price. I can leave you with one more short story that involves Marchutan. The story of Ulut, the Deva of Chance. As a human, Ulut once wagered with Marchutan, the Lord of Fate, as to whether or not he would ever ascend. Marchutan prophesied that it was not his fate to ascend. Ulut argued that chance, not fate, ruled the universe, and left to pursue his ascension. 1 year later, Ulut returned with his wings. Marchutan honored the wager, declaring that Ulut would be known henceforth as the Deva of Chance. So even though Marchutan's prophecy was wrong this time, he took the loss with pride and honored the wager by giving Ulut his title. And that was everything we know about the Empyrean Lord Marchutan. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you have any more questions, feel free to ask them here in the comments or in our Discord server. In the description you can find the links to the videos of the other Empyrean Lords. Or, if you are watching this very early on, feel free to vote in our Discord server on who we should do next. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next one. Bye!